Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Chats. As always, it's me, George Cummings, and today I would like to make a short video explaining, because I've realised that, because I want to, okay, and I'll get into that in a bit, make a short video explaining Plato's cave. Now, before I properly do that, I would like to confess something to you guys. Pardon me, just checking my phone's on silent as I start recording. How unprofessional of me, I know. I'd like to confess something. And that is that I'm gay. No, that is sorry. That is that I have not, for a short while now, been very invested in making these videos, and that can possibly show in how disorganized the last video was, and possibly show in the fact that I missed a week. There's been a lot going on in life that I can't really talk about, and so I've been not really thinking as much about politics and not really thinking as much about philosophy. But school is back in session, which means I don't have to think about all of the actually complicated stuff, and I can sort of drown myself in meaningless academic pursuits instead, and sort of present some of this to you. Gosh, that sounds depressing. But no, in all seriousness, the sort of things I talk about on Sunday Chats just haven't been on the mind, and so I haven't been as enthusiastic towards making a video. That being said, I'm going to go into this blind. I don't have a lesson plan, as it were, but I just thought I'd make a relatively short video explaining Plato's cave. Yeah. Just take a quick pause, have a drink break, and then we can get started. Right. Okay, so, when I say Plato's cave, Plato's allegory of the cave is not an idea in of itself. That is the first important thing to note. And actually, if you're in a position where you can do so, I'd recommend sort of Googling a picture of Plato's cave and sort of playing along with me. In fact, I will pull up a picture of Plato's cave now so that I can look at it as I'm speaking. And I hope, goodness me, pop-ups. Barely know how to use these computers, you know. I feel like an old man sometimes. Cave. Okay, so Plato's allegory of the cave is not actually a philosophical idea. It is like a metaphor, basically. It's symbolic for his ideas on how the world works. And what it's actually meant to represent is an idea that Plato has called the world of the forms. And so, here's how I'd explain the world of the forms, right? Okay, good thing I put these on the desk as sort of a nice little bit of decor. I can use these for my example. These objects are not the same object. They're different colours, they're different shapes, they're different thicknesses. Look at that, right? Very different. Not very different, but relatively different. But you can recognise that they are all books. I hope. If you cannot, then we are really failing at the first hurdle here, and Plato has a lot to say for himself. But you can recognise that those are all books. And keep in mind, this is very much Plato's writing and thinking about all this in ancient Greece. So, like, psychology as we know it isn't a thing. His ideas, pardon me, are outdated. But he thinks that there must be somewhere from where we get these ideas of a book. And books aren't a thing. So when he's talking about forms, he's talking about like trees and apples and people, right? We all know roughly what a book looks like. We can imagine it. It's got pages, it's got a spine, it's got a cover. but not all books look the same. So where do we get this universal idea? Plato postulates that there are these things called forms. They are concepts, okay? And the form of a book, for example, is where all books come from, in the sense that that's what makes it a book. It derives its bookness from the form of books. I sound nuts. But that's because Plato was, by modern standards, an absolute nutjob. And, you know, that's great, that's marvellous, but he was, very much so. Yeah. There's the idea that there is like a form of books, almost. And that's like, yeah, it's the concept of a book. I don't think I need to go into it in much detail. The important thing, there's a couple of important things. The main important thing is that these forms live in what's known as the world of the forms, okay? So they live, Plato has this idea that there's this other world, right, where all the forms live. You know, you go there's the form of cats, there's the form of apples, there's the form of really cool people. That's me, by the way. There's the form of like clouds, sod, and the properties of everything in our world comes down from the world of the forms. Okay. Plato believes that we came from this world of the forms, that humans are not meant to be on this plane, and that they sort of, every now and then, for reasons that either he doesn't make clear or I can't quite remember, we get kicked down to this world, sort of the mortal world, and just have to struggle, and we just suck. And he thinks we can go back to the world of the forms, because you want to go back to the world of the forms. It's seen as a purer world, free of sort of, I'm just going to mute a group chat that's just sent me a message, free of all of the distractions of the world here. You know, you don't have to worry about hunger or nicotine addictions or lust or any sort of drives, okay? You don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Nicotine addictions was a strange one. You can just sort of, those things are seen as unnecessary distractions. And according to Plato, if you free your mind from these things and you study philosophy, you can basically enter the world of the forms and become like a spirit-like thing hanging out in the world of the forms again. And this is where his allegory of the cave comes in. Plato, so I hope you've got your picture of the allegory of the cave right now. I've searched Plato's cave in Google, and I'm using the very first one. So feel free to follow along. As you can see, on the left side of the screen, I probably could have done this as like a PowerPoint, but this is very like impulse based. I'm recording this at 9:30 on the 10th of the 9th, 2025. I just sort of decided to record this, so whatever. That is very much how these things go. I just decide to do it, and then I do. There's not much planning that goes into it, I'm afraid. If you are following along with me, you will see that on the left of your image, there are a few people sat on the left side of the wall, staring at shadows on the wall. Plato thinks that that's us, okay? We're the nitwits that are standing there and staring at the shadows on the wall. And the shadows are like the world as we see it, the imperfect world that's sort of ruined and tempered by the fact that we're in a world of matter and imperfectness and shittery. Okay. And the shapes that the fire is casting on the wall, this really is a visual one. You really do need to sort of bring up a picture to follow along. The shapes that the fire is putting on the wall, those shapes that are being held up, they are the world of the forms, okay? That's what is actually going on here. And so he thinks that we are just sitting there and staring at a shite, fake version of the world, when we could be like the wonderful gentleman in the top right of the top right corner, who has escaped the cave and is seeing the world as it is. Now, how you do this is where it comes in that by modern politeness standards, I'm convinced Plato's a bit of a narcissist, or at least a bit full of himself. Plato basically thinks that the way you can escape to the world of forms is by studying philosophy. You reject all this other stuff, I don't care about alcohol or money or... It's been a long day, okay? It's been a long day. I don't care about any of these physical pursuits. You think, sod all that, I'm going to study philosophy and be unemployed and 30k in debt. Obviously that was when he thought that philosophy would be easy, comparatively. But yeah, that's basically what he thinks. If you don't study philosophy and escape the world of forms, then it sucks to be you, because you are just going to be reincarnated over and over and over. And that's very much that, idiot. So yeah, that's pretty much the world of the forms. I could go into it more, or the allegory of the cave. There's more to it, and if you want to ask me more about it, please do, because this is something that I study for my RS course. But the very, very simple version is that Plato's allegory of the cave is about the world of the forms. The world of the forms is like a perfect world where all of the concepts for things we have come from. And you want to go there by studying philosophy, becoming well clever, rejecting the world, and just giving matter the middle finger, really. Yeah. Now, I think I've only been recording for 12 minutes, so I'm probably going to speak a little bit about where I intend for this channel to go. Not very long, but last video I put hashtags in, and it's already got more views than both of the ones before it. The third last one, having the word cannibal in the title, which I thought would get clicks, but apparently no. Apparently cannibalism doesn't matter anymore, it's trivial. So, probably going to start putting hashtags to get more views. Mainly because, I don't know, if I'm going to make a video, I may as well get views on it. Come on, I'm not fussed about it really, but it's only 20 letters or so. Yes. So I'm going to start doing that. And if it will bring in more views, as I suspect, I should probably start setting more sub-goals. I sort of thought once we breached 50, oh well, I don't know that many people, so I'll stop there. But no, it seems that people that I don't know are quite frequently clicking on these videos. Again, especially the one that I added hashtags to. So, I would like to say, what can I do that's a bit ambitious? Let's try and shoot for 75. As I'm recording, we're on 65. Let's try and shoot for 75 by Halloween. Because I thought that 50 by the end of summer was ridiculous. Then we hit that in 2 weeks. So, I'm telling you now, start my microphone. Telling you now, we are going to try to get to 75 subscribers by Halloween, the 31st of October. Nobody gave me any ideas for a sub goal last time. If you want to give me ideas for a sub goal this time, be my guest. Otherwise, this has been me, as always. It's never going to be anyone else. Maybe I'll record with someone, but... Oh, that's an interesting point, by the way. Let me know in the description if you want me to record with someone. Anyway, yeah. That's that, really. In short, yeah, that's Plato's Cave. Also, let's try and get 75 by the 31st of October. Thank you very much for watching. and I'm hoping you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.